3 months. That's how long it's been since Love Island USA Season 7 wrapped, and we're still talking about them. Nicolandria, the couple that had fans shipping them from day one, even when they were with completely different people. Nic and Olandria from Love Island USA have become one of the most talked about dating show couples in recent memory, and the drama surrounding them hasn't stopped since they left Fiji. From Ace Greene's controversial comments to Cierra's heartbreak, from Taylor Williams moving on with Clarke to that boyfriend moment at the VMAs, this Love Island Season 7 story has layers that nobody expected. And if you've been following Love Island Huda coverage or any of the Nicolandria content online, you know this isn't your typical reality TV romance. This is something different, something that has people questioning everything they thought they knew about reality TV relationships. So buckle up, because we're about to break down everything that happened, everything that's happening now, and why this couple has the internet absolutely losing their minds. Quick thing before we dive in, if you're not subscribed yet, do me a solid and hit that button. Takes 2 seconds, costs you nothing, and it helps me keep bringing you the tea. Plus, you'll look 10% more attractive. Science fact. Don't fact check that.
Let's rewind to the beginning, because this story doesn't start with a couple. It starts with a kiss that wasn't supposed to matter. July 2025, day one in the Love Island villa in Fiji. Enter Olandria Carthen, 27 years old, from Decatur, Alabama, working as an elevator and escalator professional. She walks in confident, stunning, ready to find love. Then there's Nic from Vansteenberghe, 24, a registered nurse from Jacksonville, Florida, who had no idea he was about to be part of one of the season's biggest storylines. During the first impressions coupling, Olandria had a choice. She could pick one guy to couple up with, but first she wanted to test the waters. So she kissed both Nic and Taylor Williams, the Oklahoma cowboy. The kiss with Nic was electric. Fans watching at home saw it immediately. The chemistry was undeniable. But Olandria chose Taylor, drawn to his southern charm and cowboy lifestyle. Nic, he coupled up with Bella Walker initially, before quickly forming a strong connection with bombshell Cierra Ortega.
And just like that, Nicolandria was born as a concept, even though the actual couple didn't exist yet. Because here's what made this season different. Throughout the next several weeks, every time there was a challenge that involved kissing or physical connection, Nic and Olandria kept choosing each other, week after week, challenge after challenge. It became a pattern that fans couldn't ignore. They'd share these intense moments, locked in eye contact, stealing glances across the villa, and then go right back to their respective partners like nothing happened. Olandria stayed loyal to Taylor, despite their relationship being the definition of slow burn. She even rekindled things with him after America briefly paired her with Jaylen Brown. Meanwhile, Nic and Cierra became one of the season's strongest couples. They were locked in, exclusive, seemingly endgame material. But anyone paying attention knew something was simmering beneath the surface. Nic's googly eyes when he looked at Olandria during challenges didn't lie. The way they gravitated toward each other wasn't accidental. It was magnetic, undeniable, and completely unresolved.
Then, Casa Amore happened, and everything changed. For those who don't know, Casa Amore is Love Island's annual chaos generator. They split the villa in two, separate the couples, bring in bombshells, and watch everything burn. It's designed to test connections, and boy, did it test these two. Olandria tried connecting with Zach Sarayakow in Casa. Nic showed interest in Jaden Duggar, but after just 24 hours, both of them were dumped. Gone. Eliminated. The Islanders in the opposite villa had no idea. But here's where it gets cinematic. Nic is walking away from the villa, suitcase in hand, probably thinking his Love Island journey is over. Then a car pulls up. The door opens, and who's inside? Olandria. She looks at him, tells him to get in, and suddenly they're on a romantic date together, discovering they've been given a lifeline. They could return to the main villa, but only as a couple. It was the twist nobody saw coming, and the moment Nicolandria Nation had been waiting for.
They had their date, they talked about the connection they've been avoiding, the tension that had been building for weeks finally had space to exist. And then they kissed. But this wasn't a challenge kiss. This was different. Olandria would later describe it as the first kiss outside of challenges, the one that made her think, wait, why did that feel good? But guilt crept in immediately. They both still had feelings for their original partners. Nic was thinking about Cierra. Olandria couldn't let go of Taylor. So they made a decision that confused everyone. They chose to keep things platonic. They returned to the villa as a couple in name only, planning to recouple with their original flames. When Casa Amore ended and they returned, Nic did exactly that. He recoupled with Cierra, and by episode 25, they were officially exclusive. Olandria's plan, however, didn't work out. Taylor chose Clarke Carraway, the Casa Amore bombshell he'd only known for days, over the woman he'd been building a connection with since day one. The betrayal was massive. Olandria went off on him during that episode, and honestly, who could blame her? She'd stayed loyal, played by the rules, and got dumped for someone brand new.
So, Olandria was single, Nic was with Cierra, and the door that had briefly opened during Casa Amore seemed permanently closed. Fans watching at home were devastated. The edits kept showing those lingering looks. The chemistry was still there, simmering under the surface, but neither of them could act on it. Until episode 30 changed everything. Before we get into what happened next, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Seriously, it's free, it helps the channel, and rumor has it, subscribed viewers have better luck in love. Again, don't Google that. Cierra was removed from the villa. Social media posts surfaced showing her using a racial slur in the past, and production pulled her from the show. It was sudden, shocking, and it left Nic completely untethered. No warning, no closure, just gone. He had to process that removal while still in the villa, still on camera, still trying to figure out his next move. And during all of that, there was Olandria. Single, still dealing with her own heartbreak from Taylor's decision, and suddenly, for the first time all season, there was nothing standing between them.
The connection they'd been denying for weeks finally had permission to exist. They coupled up on day 26, and this time, it wasn't platonic. This time, they leaned into it fully. The stolen glances became real conversations. The challenge chemistry became actual intimacy. And after weeks of fan speculation, Nicolandria was finally officially real. They made it to the finale on day 37, finishing as runners-up behind winners Amaya and Brian. But for Nicolandria Nation, they'd already won. During the finale, Nic and Olandria prepared speeches for each other that had viewers sobbing. Olandria talked about their unexpected connection, how she never saw this coming but couldn't imagine it ending. Nic spoke about being excited to step into the real world together, to keep learning about her, sharing laughs, creating memories. They didn't leave as an official exclusive couple, but they left together. And that's where the real journey began. Because here's the thing about Nicolandria. They've never moved at anyone else's pace. From the very beginning, they've done things their way, and the post-Villa chapter has been no different. The reunion aired on August 25, filmed about a month after the finale. Fans showed up expecting a hard launch, an official relationship confirmation, maybe even talk of moving in together. Instead, they got honesty. Nic admitted there'd been massive pressure from fans. People wanted labels. They wanted milestones. Some comments literally said things like, "She better show up pregnant and married to the reunion." But Nic and Olandria weren't playing that game. Nic explained they'd always believed in taking their time, not letting outside pressure dictate their relationship. They were going on trips together. They had future dates planned. Whatever Olandria wanted, Nic said he'd make happen. But a label? Not yet. And the way he said it wasn't defensive or uncertain, it was confident. It was a couple saying, "We know what we have, and we don't need to perform it for you." Olandria echoed that sentiment in multiple interviews. On Keke Palmer's podcast in July, she talked about feeling the media pressure and having a conversation with Nic about it. His response? Keep going at the pace they're going. No reason to rush. On Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in August, Olandria got emotional talking about Nic. She said he allows her to bask in her femininity, to be soft in ways she'd always wanted, that he takes the wheel when she's usually a control freak. The support he gives her, she said, was unreal. Those aren't the words of someone in a fake relationship. Those are the words of someone who found something real and wants to protect it. And protect it they did.
While everyone online was debating labels and timelines, Nic and Olandria were actually living. Their first real date outside the villa? Disneyland. Classic, sweet, exactly the kind of low-key move they'd been telegraphing the whole time. Nic's mom had extended a dinner invitation to Olandria during Family Day back in Fiji, promising a home-cooked meal in Florida. Olandria confirmed during the finale she'd be making that trip, and she did. Both families showed massive support. Nic's family was cheering when they coupled up the second time. The video of his parents' reaction went viral. This wasn't just a couple navigating their relationship, they had family backing from the jump.
Then came September, and the boyfriend moment. Olandria posted a TikTok participating in the Better Be Nice trend for a probiotic water brand. The line, "My boyfriend's gonna show you his favorite drink, and you better be nice." Boyfriend. She said it, clear as day. The comments exploded. Fans immediately started tagging Nic, asking for confirmation. Was it official? Was this the hard launch? Days later, they attended the MTV Video Music Awards, though they didn't walk the red carpet together. Complex caught Nic for an interview and asked directly if Olandria meant it when she called him her boyfriend. Nic's response was perfect. Smiling at the camera, he said, "She can confirm it when she comes down here in 20 minutes. I can neither confirm nor deny." Cheeky. Playful. Classic Nic. Whether that was the official label or just Olandria being comfortable enough to use the term casually, one thing was clear. They were together, committed, and very much navigating this thing at their own speed. No rush, no grand announcements, just two people building something real while the world watched and speculated.
But not everyone was supportive. Enter Ace Greene and the drama that absolutely nobody asked for. Ace, who left the villa in a relationship with Chelley Bissainthe, sat down for a post-reunion interview with Speedy Mormon. And in that interview, he threw a bomb into the Nicolandria conversation that he probably regrets. When asked directly if Nic and Olandria's relationship was real, Ace went silent, refused to answer. Then he started talking about private conversations he'd had with Nic in the villa, claiming Nic told him there was no romantic spark with Olandria, that they found each other attractive, but the connection wasn't there. Ace said Nic had tested that connection, and it wasn't enough, which is why he went back to Cierra. He also claimed Olandria had been very adamant about telling him her type, implying Nic didn't fit that description. While Ace insisted he had a lot of respect for Olandria and considered her a friend, the damage was done. He'd publicly questioned the legitimacy of their relationship based on old conversations that happened before they even got together. The irony? Ace admitted he thought Taylor and Clarke's relationship was real, despite Taylor dumping Olandria after weeks together for someone he'd known for days.
The internet didn't hold back. Nicolandria Nation came for Ace with receipts, logic, and zero mercy. People pointed out that relationships evolve, that conversations Nic had mid-season, while he was still with Cierra and Olandria was with Taylor, don't reflect what happened after they finally got together. Others questioned why Ace, who claimed to be Olandria's friend, would air private relationship details on a public podcast without her consent. Even people who weren't hardcore Nicolandria fans found Ace's comments messy and unnecessary. One tweet summed it up perfectly. "Do you know how wrong you gotta be for the internet to side with a white man over you?" Another commenter on Threads nailed the real issue. It has nothing to do with whether he knows if Nic and Olandria are real. It has everything to do with the fact that he claims to be her friend and chose a podcast to divulge information about her relationship that not even she may be privy to. That's the thing. Even if Ace had concerns, even if he genuinely believed what he was saying, airing it publicly was a violation of trust, and fans weren't here for it.
Olandria and Nic didn't directly respond with long statements or social media tirades. They didn't need to. Their actions spoke louder. They kept posting together, kept showing up for each other, kept living their lives unbothered. The silence said everything. We don't owe you an explanation. We know what this is. And so does anyone actually paying attention. So why does Nicolandria work? What makes this relationship different from every other Love Island couple that flames out 3 months post-show? It comes down to 3 things: pace, priorities, and protection. From the beginning, they've refused to let anyone rush them. Not fans, not media, not the pressure to perform for social media. They've been clear that their relationship develops on their timeline, not yours. That takes confidence. It takes security. It takes 2 people who actually trust what they have instead of needing constant external validation.
Second, priorities. They're not building a relationship for content. They're building one for themselves. That means going quiet sometimes. That means not posting every date, every moment, every milestone. It means showing up when it matters. Family visits, important events, shared work opportunities. But protecting the private stuff. In a world where every couple vlogs their breakfast, Nicolandria's privacy reads like confidence, not secrecy. Finally, protection. Both families have shown support. Nic's mom inviting Olandria to Florida wasn't performative, it was genuine. Olandria's comments about Nic allowing her to be soft, to let go of control, to feel supported, those aren't PR talking points. That's a woman who found something safe. And Nic's consistent message that whatever she wants, he'll make happen, that's a man showing up. Not for cameras, not for clout, just showing up. Compare that to the couples who announce their relationship status in a professionally shot video, post daily updates, and break up 3 weeks later when the brand deals dry up. Nicolandria took the opposite approach. They went slow, they went quiet, and they're still here.
Let's talk about Nicolandria Nation for a second, because this fandom is legitimately one of the most dedicated groups to come out of Love Island USA. From day one, before Nic and Olandria were even actually together, fans were creating ship names, making TikTok edits, manifesting this relationship into existence. The edits are everywhere, thousands of them, set to emotional music, cutting between challenge kisses and stolen glances, building narratives that the show itself sometimes missed. Nic and Olandria have both talked about watching these edits. On their flight home from Fiji, they watched 10 hours straight of Nicolandria content. When they're feeling down, they go back to fan videos and tweets for a boost. That kind of relationship with a fandom is rare. Usually, reality TV couples either ignore their fans or pander to them desperately. Nicolandria found a middle ground. They acknowledge the support, appreciate it genuinely, and use it as fuel when things get tough. But they don't let it dictate their moves. It's a balance that keeps the fandom invested without making the relationship feel like a performance. And the fandom has responded by being fiercely protective. When Ace made his comments, Nicolandria Nation mobilized immediately, defending, explaining, providing context. When people try to claim it's PR, fans pull up receipts. Interviews, family reactions, consistent behavior over months.
This isn't just casual viewership. This is a community that sees something in this couple and wants it to succeed. Part of that is representation. Seeing a relationship that doesn't follow the usual reality TV script resonates. Seeing 2 people take their time, protect their peace, and build something private in a public space feels aspirational. Nicolandria Nation isn't just shipping a couple, they're rooting for a different kind of love story. One that doesn't perform, one that just exists, unapologetically. Now, where does this leave us in October 2025? 3 months post-finale, Nic and Olandria are still together. Still posting occasionally, still showing up for each other, still taking their time. There's no official hard launch with matching Instagram posts and PR-approved captions. There's no rush to move in together or get engaged. There's just 2 people continuing to explore a connection that started with a day 1 kiss and survived weeks of being with other people, a Casa Amore twist, public pressure, and internet speculation. They've attended events together, they've traveled together, they've integrated into each other's lives in ways that matter beyond social media. Olandria's comments about Nic supporting her modeling career, setting up photo shoots in Europe, show a partner invested in her success. Nic's consistent message that he wants to give Olandria whatever she needs shows someone thinking long-term. These aren't performative gestures. These are the building blocks of an actual relationship.
The question isn't whether Nicolandria is real anymore. That debate is over for anyone paying actual attention. The question now is how long people will keep questioning it despite all evidence to the contrary. Because at a certain point, skepticism becomes willful ignorance. When someone tells you who they are and what they want repeatedly across months and platforms, through actions and words, believing the opposite isn't critical thinking, it's just stubbornness. Here's the reality. Relationships that form on reality TV face impossible odds. The pressure, the scrutiny, the way every moment gets dissected and analyzed, it's a meat grinder that destroys most couples before they even leave the villa. The ones that survive usually do so by either going completely private or leaning fully into the public relationship content game. Nicolandria chose a third option: visible but not performative, present but not desperate, confirmed but not constantly proving. And maybe that's why this works, because they're not trying to convince you. They're not building a relationship designed to satisfy fan expectations or generate engagement metrics. They're building something for themselves that happens to exist in public view. Take it or leave it, believe it or don't. They'll be fine either way. That confidence, that security, that's what makes Nicolandria different. That's what makes this story compelling 3 months later, when most Love Island couples are barely a memory.
So what can we learn from Nicolandria? Maybe that the relationships worth having are the ones that don't need constant validation. That taking your time isn't a red flag, it's wisdom. That privacy in a public world isn't suspicious, it's healthy. That two people can find something real in the most artificial environment possible and protect it without performing it. In a culture that demands everything be shared, documented, and monetized, Nicolandria said, no thanks. We'll share what we want, when we want, and the rest belongs to us. Will they make it long-term? Nobody knows. Relationships are hard, and adding reality TV fame to the mix doesn't make it easier. But 3 months in, they're still here, still together, still unbothered by the noise. And honestly, that's more than most couples can say. Whether they end up together forever or this becomes a beautiful chapter in both their lives, what they've built so far matters. They've shown you can do reality TV differently. You can fall in love on camera without turning that love into content. You can be public without being performative. Nicolandria isn't just a ship name. It's a case study in how to protect something real in a world designed to destroy it. They walked into a villa designed to create drama, found each other anyway, took weeks to figure it out, and came out the other side choosing each other daily. Not perfectly, not according to anyone else's timeline, but authentically. And in 2025, when everything feels manufactured and optimized for engagement, that authenticity hits different. So here's where we leave it. Nic and Olandria are together, taking things at their own pace, building something real while the world watches and waits for them to either crash or perform. They're not doing either. They're just living, going on dates, meeting families, supporting each other's careers, being soft with each other in ways they've both said they needed. And if that's not enough for some people, if that doesn't satisfy the need for constant updates and confirmations, that's a them problem, not a Nicolandria problem.
To Nicolandria Nation, keep making those edits. Keep supporting. Keep believing in something that doesn't follow the script. To the skeptics, at this point, the evidence is overwhelming. Maybe it's time to just let two people be happy without needing to solve the mystery of whether they're real. And to Nic and Olandria, wherever this goes, however long it lasts, you've already shown everyone watching that there's another way, a quieter way, a more protected way, a way that prioritizes the two people in the relationship over the millions watching it. And that, honestly, is revolutionary. All right, that's it for this deep dive into Nicolandria. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Seriously, it's the YouTube equivalent of sending good vibes, and we all need more of those. Drop a comment below with your thoughts.
Are you team Nicolandria? Are you still skeptical? Do you think Ace was out of line? Let's talk about it. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!